What's cracking, gang? It's T Nasty, and I can't even do the fucking intro, guys. I'm still shook. You guys know I'm a Max Holloway glazer, so I'm fucking hurting right now for our boy. But man, congrats to Ilia Topuria. That man is a fucking demon. Knocking out Volk and Max back to back is just crazy. That dude is gonna be a superstar. I've had a night to sleep on it, and UFC 308 was fucking amazing. Although my boy lost, it was one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. Maybe it's recency bias, but that was almost as good as 300, bro. We had amazing performances by Ilia, Khamzat, Shara, and Ebo, as well as really good scraps by Murphy and Dan Ige and Ankalaev and Rakic. And not to mention probably fight of the year between Holloway and Rabeski. Top to bottom, it was a really entertaining card. I thought the prelims would be trash, but they were actually really fucking good, and the main card was incredible. Overall, I will have to give it an A-. The only thing I didn't enjoy about this card was the judging. I know I'm going to get hate for this, but Abu Dhabi judges are horrible and just straight up biased towards Islamic fighters. It's pretty ridiculous hearing 30-27s for a guy who many think lost the fight, let alone won all 3 rounds. But there were a few bad decisions on this card, mainly Fakhretdinov versus Leal, Holloway versus Rabeski, and Murphy versus Ige. All 3 of those, I thought the wrong guy won. Fakhretdinov was just a straight up robbery. He did not win that fight. I cannot wait to fade him on his next fight because that is 3 fraud checks in a row for him. But yeah, 308 was amazing. I'm really sad for my boy, but he'll be back. And Topuria is just a fucking demon, man. I don't know who is going to have a chance against that dude. He's just so fucking good, man. But I will get to that later in the vid. As for the draft, in a crazy turn of events, I have retained my predictions championship. They said I was cooked. They said I already lost. And I'll be honest, it wasn't looking good for me after that draft. But somehow I ended up on top once again. Totally not rigged, I swear. And my boy Jared was the big loser. For his loser challenge, he had to go out in public wearing the clown costume. So here is the adventures of Jerdbo the Clown.
Hello. Oh, we got to carry out right now. Not feeling very max blessed right now, I'll tell you that.
Nope. 2 jokers.
I'm going to put the scoreboard on screen now, but it was neck and neck the whole event with me and Adam competing for first and Jared and Brendo competing for last. I thought it would be the other way around because they took it seriously while me and Adam were just drafting off of vibes. However, against all odds, I managed to regain my title. That's just what makes me such a great champion and predictor. Even when I put myself into a corner, I still come out on top. Nah, but for real, UFC 309 is in a few short weeks, so we will see if there's anyone that can dethrone me. If any of you guys watching want to get in on a future draft, just hit me up and we'll get you a title shot. Thanks to my boys Brendo, Adam, and Jared again for doing this with me. You guys are some real ones. Now, with all that being said, it's time for me to go over how I did in my picks and give you guys my fights to make for all the big winners and losers. So overall, I did pretty good on my picks. Obviously, I was way wrong on the main event, but I only got 2 others wrong. 10-3 on a whole card is pretty fucking good if you ask me. I did the same record as my boy Bedtime, who we all know is the best predictor on MMA YouTube, but I'm coming for you, Bedtime. But yeah, the other ones I got wrong were Abus Magomedov getting the submission win over Bruno Ferreira, and Mateusz Rabeski getting the decision win over Mikbek Orolbai. I was kind of right about those fights too, though, to be honest. Rabeski got gifted the decision. I'm not going to say it was a robbery because it was close for sure, and he did a lot of damage, but I had Orolbai winning 2 rounds for sure. And I predicted Bruno would hurt Abus, and he would use his grappling to survive, which is exactly what happened. But I did not see Abus locking up a submission, so congrats to him for that performance. But yeah, 10-3 is pretty good. I'll take that. As for performance of the night, I was pretty spot on with that. It went to Topuria, Chimaev, and Shara Magomedov. Who would have thought it would be 3? But 2 of those I predicted, and fight of the night, I was quite wrong on. It went to Holloway versus Rabeski. Obviously, that shit might be fight of the year, but UFC 308 was awesome. I did great on picks. And let's get right into my fights to make. Dana, Nick Maynard, Sean Shelby, pay attention. So the first guy I want to talk about is Mixbag Orlby. He's probably the most prominent loser from the prelims for putting on that absolute barn burner of a fight. I thought he won personally, so he doesn't lose any stock in my eyes. He took so much fucking damage from a beast like Rebeski. You literally have to kill that guy if you want to finish him. But I think for his next matchup, he deserves someone beatable who will match his exciting style. I say we give him Nazim Sadikov. I think this would be a sick matchup and would be a very entertaining fight. Sadikov would be there the whole time and loves to have fights just like that one, and the winner can move one step closer to the rankings. Now, as for Mateusz Rebeski, that was a good performance from him. I didn't think he won, but he did look really good and showed that he is improving. He gassed out against Diego Ferreira in St. Louis, so he had to show he can go in a fight like that, and he proved it for sure. I think he deserves a shot at someone just outside the top 15, and if he wins that one, then we can start looking at ranked opposition. I think a good matchup for him would be Thiago Moises. He's a vet who would test his abilities, especially on the ground, and if he is able to beat a guy like that, he would be able to step right into the top 15 competition in my opinion. I also just think this would be a good fight. Maybe not on the same level as the one we saw yesterday, but I think it will be a very entertaining scrap for sure. Let's move on to the last guy I want to talk about from the prelims, my fucking boy Ibo Aslan. This dude is my new favorite fighter. I freaking loved his performance yesterday. He TKO'd that dude in like 50 seconds, dropped him about 3 or 4 times, and then cut one of the best promos I've ever heard. I am all aboard the Turkish Power hype train after that one, guys. I love this dude. I think coming off 2 KOs, this guy deserves the rocket strap to him. I want to give this dude a ranked opponent, and we will see if he truly can be a star. Let's do Ibo Aslan versus Anthony Smith. I mean Bogdan Guskov. I think this would be a sick fucking fight, guys. These dudes will throw down, and there's no way it goes to decision. Throw this on a pay-per-view main card in the UK or a fight night co-main event early next year, and this will bang for sure. Now for the main card fighters, we got to start with my boy Shara Bullet. If you guys didn't see that knockout, go back and watch that shit immediately. It was KO of the year in my opinion. I don't care if it's recency bias, man. No KO this year has been that sick with that kind of platform, and I don't know if anything can top it. He hit the dude with a double spinning back fist. Like, what the fuck? Shara is fucking awesome, man. I love him. One of my boys convinced me Petrosian would win, and he did do good in that fight until he got caught, but Shara is just an animal, man. Gun to my head, I don't think he's very elite skill-wise, but that motherfucker has aura, and he is very entertaining to watch. He also fought 4 times already this last year. He's just a beast. I say we give him what he wants, and we let him fight in China next month. Anybody just outside the top 15 that will take the fight will be fine, but we have to capitalize on his momentum and strike while the iron is hot. I say we do Shara Bullet versus Brad Tavares. I think that would be a sick fucking fight. Brad might try and wrestle, but he isn't really that good, so I think Shara would be able to keep it standing. Like I said, he isn't that good, but he is really freaking exciting, so we got to keep feeding him good matchups as long as we can. He called out Izzy after, which was a little goofy if you ask me. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, Shara. But I think him versus Brad Tavares is a sweet matchup and will be hella good, so let's do Shara versus Brad Tavares in China next. And then for Lerone Murphy, this dude is just like a smaller Leon Edwards. Super technical, good clinch skills, uses his kicks and whatnot. He looked good for sure in rounds 2 and 3, but I thought Ige won personally. I picked Lerone to win, but I just thought Ige did more damage in the fight. And I just disagree with the round by round scoring sometimes, man. Like, how the fuck do you get dropped that bad in round 1 and then win the fight? That shit makes no sense to me. For me, if you get dropped bad, you have to get a knockdown yourself to get back into the fight. But that's just my opinion. I know it's a hot take. Regardless, Lerone won, so I think it's fair he keeps moving up in the division. I think a matchup with Arnold Allen makes a lot of sense. Do that in the UK as a fight night main event, bro. Trust me. I think it would be a really good fight too. Probably more of a chess match than a brawl, but it will be good nonetheless. Lerone freaking called out Josh Emmett after the fight. Bro, if you fight Josh Emmett, he will send you to the fucking Shadow Realm. I know Dan Ige hits hard, but Josh Emmett is on another level. His right hand will pulverize that chin so fast, so stay as far away from that matchup as possible, Lerone. Next, in the feature fight on the main card, we had Ankalaev pick up a decision win over Rakic. He looked fucking good. I'll give him props. He was going for the finish the whole time. You could tell he was just swinging with everything he had. Rakic just played it safe and managed to survive. I thought it would be the other way around, so credit to Ankalaev for sure. It's fucking time. He needs to fight Pereira next. He is the only credible threat to Poaton's title reign right now, so this is what needs to happen. He deserved the title shot 4 fights ago. It's fucking time. There are still people trying to discredit Ankalaev, but they need to shut the fuck up. He is not fucking boring, guys. You are tripping. He turned Rakic into a wrestler, bro. He didn't shoot one goddamn takedown, so just sit back and let the professionals matchmake over here. Ankalaev deserves his title shot and is the only one who can beat Pereira, in my opinion. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight belt is the next fight to make. And as for Rakic, I still think he's a really good fighter and will fight for the belt one day. He's only 2 or 3 wins away at this point. He's really only lost to the best guys in the division. He looked pretty good in this fight too. Ankh is just on another level right now, and he was super hungry in that fight. I say for Rakic, we rebook the Jan Blachowicz fight. He deserves that rematch after what happened in their first fight. I think it would be a really entertaining fight if they actually get to throw down. Jan has also just been inactive for a minute and shouldn't get to fight up after so much time off, so make him rematch Rakic. He wants to fight Pereira again, but calm down, Jan. Get a win, and then we can talk. Then in the co-main event, we had my boy Chimaev reignite the fire, baby. I miss the prime Khamzat days, but calm Khamzat may be even better. I fucking told you guys he would finish Rob Whittaker, and he made it look fucking easy. He absolutely destroyed him, bro. Rob only landed 2 strikes the whole fight, and he did it even faster than I thought. I said it would be round 2, but this dude Khamzat made him panic tap in round 1. I feel fucking horrible for Rob, though. I was never a huge Reaper fan, but there's no denying he's a good-ass dude and didn't deserve that, but unfortunately, that's the game we play. All credit to Khamzat, though. He looked like a fucking beast out there. That's how you go and get a title shot, which is exactly the fight to make for him next. We need to see Duplessis versus Chimaev. That just makes too much sense. The iron is hot on Khamzat again. We need to strike while we can. I already know the UFC is going to do the Strickland rematch because they just love pointless rematches for some reason, but this just makes so much more sense. Inject this fight into my veins, bro. Who has done that to Robert Whittaker before? Izzy and DDP knocked him out, yeah, but nobody absolutely smashed him like that. Khamzat absolutely deserves the title shot more than Crybaby Soy Boy Strickland. Nobody wants to see him gaslight us into thinking he's actually going to fight again. Tell me who else deserves the title shot more. Split decision over Paulo Costa in a pay-per-view killing co-main event, or a 3-minute smashing submission finish over Robert Whittaker in an actual exciting co-main. If Khamzat doesn't get the next title shot, we riot. Rant over. As for Rob, I'm going to make this quick. He obviously is going to need a lot of time off if he even ends up fighting again. At this point in his career, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to retire after an injury like that. I feel so bad for him, man. A broken jaw like that with displaced teeth is a gruesome injury to recover from. He's going to probably need oral surgery and he'll have to fly back to Australia with his jaw wired shut. His poor kids are going to be scarred. But if he does end up coming back, I do want to see him versus Strickland, so that's the fight to make for Rob. Maybe after Strickland gets finished by DDP in the rematch, they can do that maybe at the end of 2025 or early 2026. And then, fuck, man. I really got to match up Max coming off a KO loss. I woke up today and thought that shit was a fucking dream. I low-key forgot about it while I was talking about the rest of the fights. Fuck. But for Max, he said he's going to take some time off and then probably move back up to 55, which is exactly what I want for him. There's so many banger fights for him up there, and maybe a couple BMF title defenses sprinkled in there as well. Oliveira, McGregor, Poirier, Hooker, Chandler, any of those would be fucking bangers. The one I want to see the most would be Dan Hooker for the BMF title. Throw that as the co-main event for International Fight Week next July. That fight would be so fucking sick, and it would give him plenty of time to recover after his first KO loss. I also really want to see him and Poirier do it one more time for Dustin's last fight, so I would settle for that as well. And then the last fighter we have to talk about is Ilia fucking Topuria, man. I'm gonna start glazing for a second, boys. This motherfucker is him, bro. I thought Max was him, and he knocked him the fuck out. Ilia's style is just so fucking sweet to watch, man. His boxing combos are so crispy, mixing up to the body and the head. His leg kicks are powerful. This man just has elite game planning. He used those leg kicks perfectly to keep Max more stationary and allow him to start landing his right hands. And then, not to mention, he has a whole ass submission game that he has barely showed in the UFC. This is fucking fighter of the year, gang. He beats Pereira for sure. He didn't have 3 title wins, but knocking out Volk and Max Holloway back to back, something like that may never be done again. That is fucking crazy. And he's only 27. This little dude is a fucking demon. He's gonna be on top for a while. He's like a little Pereira. He's dangerous at any point of the fight. He just takes his time and picks guys apart until he catches you. And the best part is, he is a fucking goated trash talker who can back it up. We've been needing a fighter like this since McGregor fell off. And if his next title defense isn't in Spain, the UFC are fucking idiots because he is a future megastar. People are going to stop hating on this man eventually and realize he is the future biggest star in the UFC. I fucking hate his gay-ass fans, and they're going to be even more annoying now that they were right about him. But I fuck with Ilia heavy, and you can't deny he is him right now. As for potential matchups, there are definitely options. It seems like the UFC is going to do the Volk rematch, which, like, yeah, he deserves it, but nobody wants to see that shit. Ilia's just going to knock him out again even worse. We need to see fresh matchups with somebody who can test him. I think the answer to that could be Diego Lopez. I think the only way somebody is going to beat him is to finish him faster than he can finish them. And the only guy in the top 5 right now that can get first round finishes like that is Diego. I mean, gun to my head, Ilia finishes him too, but I don't know who else could even stand a chance. Diego would go out there and have no respect for Ilia's power and just try to take his head off from the start, and that's exactly what you need to do to beat him. Diego absolutely deserves it too, because not only did he just piece up Ortega, but he was the backup fighter for this one. And we all know that gets you a title shot, right, Dana? That's the whole reason they gave Colby the title fight against Leon, so don't be a fucking hypocrite, Dana. Don't even get me started on him. I'm gonna drop a generational rant soon, because I'm tired of his gaslighting. But yeah, that's the fight to make for Ilia's next defense. Topuria versus Lopez in Spain will be fucking massive. Alright, enough of the Ilia glaze. I'm starting to sound like one of his fangirls. But those are my fights to make after UFC 308. I got one more thing I want to go over before I get out of here. I'm going to give you guys my updated pound-for-pound rankings. Okay, maybe a little bit more Ilia glaze. I want to start doing this after every pay-per-view because the official ones suck ass, and you guys know my takes are 100% accurate. So I'm going to just do the top 5 so we aren't here for too long, but I have it like this. Islam Makhachev at number 1, Ilia Topuria at number 2, Alex Pereira at number 3, John Jones at number 4, and then Dricus du Plessis at number 5. The way I rank pound for pound is based off whether they have proven themselves in multiple weight classes, amount of former champs defeated, well-roundedness, and activity. Islam hasn't really proven himself in multiple weight classes necessarily, but he did beat the featherweight GOAT and pound for pound number 1 twice, as well as being very active and probably the most well-rounded guy on the whole roster with 3 former champs on his resume now. For Ilia, it may be recency bias, but I think he might be the second most well-rounded guy on the roster right now behind Islam. Maybe third behind Jones, but he also has wins at lightweight, so he has proven himself at multiple weight classes, and he has 2 champs on his resume now. But they are Alex Volkanovski and Max Holloway by knockout. I'll say it again, those 2 wins are fucking crazy. Nobody else on the pound for pound list right now can top that. And then in third, I have Pereira, mainly because he's been so active, but he is a 2-weight world champion in 2 different sports, so he's the definition of pound for pound. And he has 5 former champs on his resume now, which is fucking crazy. The only reason he isn't higher is because he isn't super well-rounded like the rest of these guys. He's really just a striker, but he has proved himself to be on top of the sport right now. And then John Jones is clearly head and shoulders above the rest of these guys resume-wise and skill set-wise. It goes without saying. He's probably the greatest champion in UFC history and has now become a 2-weight world champion. The only thing that holds him back from me is the activity. Bro hasn't fought in 2 fucking years and is coming off a win over Cyril Gane. Beat Stipe and then quit ducking Aspinall and maybe you can be pound for pound number 1 again. And then at 5, I got Dricus. He hasn't proven himself at another weight yet, but back-to-back wins over Rob Whittaker, Sean Strickland, and Adesanya is fucking crazy. And he is pretty active with a super well-rounded skill set, so he deserves to be in the top 5 in my opinion. Enough yapping. I know this is a long one, so I appreciate the fuck out of any of y'all that have stuck around to the end. UFC 308 was fucking epic, and it revived my love for the sport, so look out for some dope content coming soon, gang. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, become a member, duplicate your account, and then repeat those steps for me if you want to be a test-maxing hardcore MMA fan like myself. Or don't if you want to remain a casual, with all due respect. Let me know down in the comments if you disagree with any of these takes so I can roast you for being a casual. We're on the road to 250 subscribers, so spread the word for me, gang. Alright, I've said enough. I'm gonna go turn my car on and close the garage door. Take it easy, gang.